Prior to coming to the US, I was watching, I want to say, some YouTube channels, right? I've seen some footage from the CNN, Fox, MSNBC, ABC, doesn't matter. And I always thought, like, for the last 4 to 5 years, the US is super blue.
Yeah.
Once I came to the US, I realized it's super red.
Yeah.
It's a red country.
Yes, it is.
It's a Christian, red, conservative country.
Yep.
But they are not vocal. They're silent.
Inactive.
Inactive. That's why
That's it.
foreigners think that this country is super liberal, super blue, super democratic.
Yep. I used to think that I ran for office in 22 for state assembly, right? And the place that I live in, North Hollywood, I've lived there now will be 9 years. And when I ran, it was about 7.5. In my area, because of what I thought about LA and what I was told about LA, I thought it was too blue to try.
Yeah.
I walked around, 95% of the houses I knocked down were conservatives.
But they're like, shh, don't tell.
No, they were like, shh. They were like, oh, I didn't know, a conservative? Oh, I didn't, elected official, just like they say about Trump showing up. And they're like, well, first time the president showing in the Bronx in XYZ. It was the same sentiment there. So the left that's winning here, they don't even show up. So, because they don't have to, because people like you who thought from another country go, oh, it's blue.
It's blue.
Like me moving here, oh, it's blue. Perception is reality, and all they show us is the perception is this area is blue. And when I hear anyone say on the right, oh, area is too blue to try, they're part of the problem. Because Texas wasn't too blue to try, or too red to try, was it? Now Texas is purple. Arizona wasn't. All these places that
Colorado.
weren't. So if we get into a place where I'm walking around, I'm knocking on doors, never forget, in my neighborhood specifically, not just my district, in my neighborhood specifically, the first door I knocked down were Christians. I was like, what? They're like, oh, hey, what's going on? I heard more. If you said you were a liberal or a Democrat, I would have asked you to leave my property. I heard more of that in North Hollywood than any type of pushback about being a conservative. It tells me, again, they have great marketing and bad ideas. We have great ideas, bad marketing.
85 million people are like this. That's what statistics tell us. 85 million.
Quiet. Wake up.
No, I mean 85 voted for Biden.
Oh, yeah. I mean, no. And I'll tell you why right off the bat. One of the things that people talk about, hey, there's no cases of fraud or widespread fraud that would have helped Trump. Okay, well, it's about the process. And 4 of the swing states that all Biden won, the process judges decided that the mail-in were okay. In all 4 of those,
that's a coincidence.
No, it's not a coincidence. They bypass the rules of the Constitution and the national Constitution. There's state Constitution and the national Constitution. State Constitution says that the legislators, the ones who make the laws, they're the ones that are supposed to decide whether we go mail-in or not judge. So just from the process alone, that election was fraudulent. Just from that. Just the fact that it's not supposed to work like that. So you can start there and go, oh, then mail-in, now you guys made mail-in voting as widespread thing, which wasn't supposed to happen. We can start there. Maybe it was 84. I don't know, but I do know those 4 states did it wrong, so I can't count them.
In regards to this country being truly red, have you ever stumbled on a blue podcast, liberal podcast? Almost all the biggest podcasts in the U.S. are either center right, or like right leaning.
Yeah. At this point now, I mean, they tried with the other ones, but it's
you can tell me.
It's why they try to add so much censorship on YouTube and all these different platforms now, because again, marketplace ideas, like they don't want it to be open because it will win out.
And they succeeded in 2020 to 2021, but why did they loosen it up? Why?
Well, Elon Musk buying X was a huge thing.
That's it?
No, not. I think it's a few things. Elon Musk doing that. The financial backing for all this woke stuff, they're losing too much money. And first and foremost, the people that have money, they may hate us and they want to subjugate, but they want to be able to make money.
Yeah.
Right? So now we're seeing that they've gone too much with the crazies. And so I've watched from right after Trump was elected, a lot of these online liberal magazines shut down because they started losing a bunch of money. Their investors pull out. The crony capitalists pull out their money. You look and see what's going on. And this is why I believe Trump's going to win bigger than we've ever seen, because you have CNN reporting things properly. You have CBS calling out Nancy Pelosi on the morning show. You have I saw when Trump returned to D.C. recently, and you had like Lindsey Graham and a bunch of senators and Congress people. And he's
Lindsey Graham.
Yes. I saw that. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, this is
What about Chuck Schumer and his burger?
Schumer, well, Schumer wasn't there, of course, because I get it. He's a Democrat. He can't be. That's politics. But to see how they're moving in this way, they're letting him get a chance to actually be out there, and they're saying things. And I said this to my wife. I'm like, look, I'm not a Q guy. Remember Q that was out there? I'm not a Q guy, but I would say I'm Q adjacent. Like you see enough stuff where you're like, oh, okay, I'll log it in there and then move on. And there are a lot of crazy stuff to talk about. Oh, everyone's gonna get returned a bunch of money, and they're gonna this and this and that. And you're like, okay. But one of the things that always keeps ringing in my head is that sometimes you can't tell people anymore, or you can't show people that like they have to hear it from their own. And what we've been hearing recently, especially in the last 3 years, Joe Biden's been in office, and the left media has been the one to have to say it. They've been the one to have to say it. Bill Maher, for example. Bill Maher, I know my mother-in-law is super on that side. She watches Bill Maher every week, and the stuff he's been saying. So it hasn't been the conservative or the Republican or the hardcore Christian or the Trump supporter that they're listening to anymore. It's on them. And I think this debate on Thursday is going to be even the biggest example of they can't say it's someone else anymore saying it. It has to be them to say it. And that was one of the things that like I remember was on, people were tossing around in like those, cues, they're claiming to be Q. I'll be like, and I'm noticing that now. I'm like, wait a minute. Look, I don't know if it's true. I don't know if all the other stuff they talked about was true. I just know that part of it where you have people, that side now has to say it. It's so much more than if I say it, because I'm already, what they think is, we think they're good. They're people with bad ideas. They think we're bad people with ideas. And so if their side is saying it now, and we just go, look, I've been saying it. Oh, they're telling you COVID, the vaccine was a thing. Oh, well, I've been saying it. Oh, they're telling you the border stuff is actually really bad. Oh, I've been saying it. All the things that's coming out now, we said in the last 3 years, and what were we called? Crazy, xenophobic, nut jobs, all this stuff. Conspiracy theorists. I'd like to say spoiler alerters. But now they're saying it. We're not the ones saying it now anymore. They're saying it. This is something that group said would happen. And I didn't know over time. Again, anything. I'm just saying it's interesting to watch this stuff happen. And the moves they're making looks like they're just squeezing that noose, tightening the noose more and more around their necks. And it's going to be interesting to see, guys. That doesn't mean we don't show up. We need everybody to show up at the polls and everybody to go out there and vote, because regardless of what you think, regardless of the cheating of the system, regardless of any of that stuff, I'm watching them work as hard as they can to dissuade us from voting. Tells me, like HCQ and like ivermectin, that's what works. If they're working that much harder to stop us from voting, that is what works.
Did you hear what RFK Jr. said about the ivermectin, and why did they?
Why they lied about it?
Yeah, because if you have a cure that is
on the market, you can't use an experimental drug.
Yes.
Yeah. They passed that. They actually sued a bunch of governors to make sure that they banned it in their state. So there's governors, Republican governors, that were sued to not allow ivermectin and HCQ in their state and be a part of it. So these people are terrible. This is what happens when you're anti-God. Then you can do stuff like put beagles in their heads in a cage and let flies eat away at them, like Fauci does.
Yeah.
He can turn around and give what was that drug they were giving people during COVID that was killing them? Oh my goodness. It was with the respirators, and then there was one other thing that was added on. A friend of mine's mother actually was taking that off, and they were like, yeah, let's try this. The name will come to me, but they're willing, and Obama says it. It's like we need a big experiment to have a big experiment to get it done, and I think he mentioned like we're kind of in one now, ha ha ha. So it's like when you're godless, when you don't see people made in the image of God, that we're all made in that image, then you can do horrible things to them, because there is no like connection to the divine, and also there's no like a fear of that connection to the divine.